My academic background qualifications includes, amongst others, the National Diploma in Policing, which I obtained it from Tshwane University of Technology. And I also obtained a diploma in digital and analog electronics from the Nexa College in 2001. So to date, commissioners, I examined ballistic related cases of an excess of 3,770 cases. So I received an in-service training in the ballistics section from 2008, which ended up to 2011. The ballistic training commissioners takes years if there's no any other interruptions in between. So the training consists of 12 levels, commissioners. So I completed all the 12 levels in ballistics related investigations. So that's basically my qualifications and the trainings that I received. I also received external trainings from different training providers with related to ballistics analysis.
Okay, so there you heard it yourself from the captain, how to join the ballistics and Tindleni department, especially if you're a person with an attention to detail. You want to do a more, I wouldn't say investigative work, but to grow within SABS. Ballistics is an option. For me, it sounds like a fascinating place when all things even, okay? When all things are working properly and there's no glitchiness going on. You're just doing testing. So if you're a person who loves to do lab work, research, this is the job for you. So those are where are my words? Those are the details of how he got into the ballistic department. You heard him. He's done over 3,000 ballistic examinations since the spanning of his career within ballistics. Let me know if that is something that would be of interest to you, especially if you're looking for a career change. But if you're part of the young generation, fresh out of school, not sure what to do, what to start, consider ballistics as well. So make sure you share this video with somebody who just finished school and is unsure of what exactly they want to do. But let's go back to the Madlanga Commission and let's listen in to the case at hand.
Thank you, Captain. Now let's deal with the request that you received. Before dealing with the one that you outlined at the beginning of your testimony, let's deal with a comparative ballistics examination of the 3 KZN cases against 27 case files from the Pretoria lab. Can you tell the Commission about this request?
Okay. Around November 2024, I received a request from the Pktt to conduct a comparative ballistics examination comparing 3 political killings cases which occurred in KZN. These cases, commissioners, were unresolved and there was no suspects arrested in these cases. So they wanted to resuscitate these cases. So they requested me to compare these 3 cases, which are Escort Case 92 of 8/2019, Newcastle Case 208 of 5/2019, and Escort 100 of 9/2018. I was requested to compare these cases with the number of cases that were given to me by the investigators of the Pktt. These cases were 27 in total from Pretoria. So I've mentioned all these 27 cases in my report. I don't know if I must read all of them, but they appear on my statement.
Captain, you don't need to read all of them. They are before the commissioners. But can you explain them?
Appearing under paragraph 5 of your statement, Captain.
That's correct, commissioners.
I notice we notice that the sub numbering is incorrect. It should be 5.1 to 5 point whatever the last sub number is. 5.27. Will you attend to that, Ms. Powell?
Chair, I will attend to it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Captain, you described to in your statement, the process that you then follow once this request was given to you, and you start describing this process from paragraph 7. Can you explain the process to the Commission?
Okay, thank you, Commissioners. So the request was from paragraph 7.
Yes, Captain, and that's just after you receive the request to then collect the case files in Pretoria.
Okay, following the above request, Commissioners, I arranged with Lieutenant Colonel Leso in Ballistics, Pretoria, to collect the 27 case files. Because you have to request the case files you have to request the case files so that they can make them ready and available to you. So I arranged with Lieutenant Colonel Lesu, and each case contained relevant reports, the covering letters, the exhibits and worksheets, and associate correspondence and notes. So after Colonel Lesu confirmed that the cases were ready, I made a trip to Pretoria, where I'm originally based. And on the 12th December 2024, the 27 case files were handed to me by Lieutenant Colonel Lesu, and I then returned to KZN with these case files to conduct the requested comparison from the Pktt.
And Captain, can you describe how this comparison occurs? How do you undertake this process?
Okay, the process will start with the case files in front of you, and you open each case individually and comparing with another case from the opposite. In this case, I was comparing the 3 KZN case files with all these 27 case files from Pretoria. So firstly, I will open the case files, which are of KZN. 3 of them, I will open them. And one by one, I will be comparing this specimen from the KZN cases, comparing them one by one with the Pretoria case files, or with the Pretoria exhibits that are on the case files. So I will take specimen one by one into the microscope, under the microscope, comparing the similarities on each specimen on each case file.
And in this process, are you looking for the markings that would have been made?
In this process, Commissioners, I will be looking for individual markings that the firearms imparts on the cartridge cases or the fired cartridge cases and or the bullets. So the process require you to, or the analyst, to look under the microscope for these specific marks to be able to determine if the certain specimen were fired or were not fired from the specific firearm.
And Captain, at paragraph 10, you deal with your findings. Can you explain your findings to the Commissioner?
Okay. In paragraph 10, my findings were that there was no any linkage that was or that I identified between the 3 KZN political killings cases and the 27 cases that I collected from Pretoria, meaning there was no common firearm that was used in these cases, specifically between the 27 cases that I collected from Pretoria and the 3 political killings cases in KZN. So there was no link. So as the results were negative, Commissioners, the outcome was recorded on the examination worksheets and the proformas as required by our standard operating procedures. And I did not, in this case, compile the separate case linkage report because the investigators, after informing them of these findings, preliminary so, they did not see it necessary for me to provide the report in this regard. So I didn't compile any report because it wouldn't have any impact on their investigation.
Do you know, Captain, why you were required to do this particular comparison?
Commissioners, I was requested because the cases in KZN were dead, like as in there was no movement on these 3 political killings cases. So I was requested to do the comparison in order to resuscitate the investigation on these 3 political killings in KZN. And again, if I can add on that, the cases that were politically related, the 3 politically related cases that I needed to compare with the 27, there was a common firearm, or the type of firearm were similar, like it was an AK-47 that was used on these 3 KZN cases. Also on the 27 cases, all 27 cases that are collected in Pretoria, the AK-47 was used on those cases.
But it turned out these were different AK-47 rifles based on the fact that you could not establish any linkages.
That's correct, Commissioner. They were different AK-47s.
Typically, I like to give my analysis as they go and I chop it up in bite size. But in this case, he's literally just giving his experience and I'm learning as well. So I hope you learned something, a thing or two as well, with regards to the comparison between the KZN political unaliving cases and the 27 cases from Pretoria that are assumed to have all been using, or hopefully he was looking for similarities and of an not AKA, oh my goodness, AK-47. Yes, I'm mixing up with AKA just because them Gulagajers, the Demande brothers are coming home. They are coming home. But we'll talk about that in a separate video. But basically, so the AK-47 that was used in the 27 cases is not a match or a hit with the 3 KZN cases. So basically that's the process. He walks us through the process and then he goes on to say after doing the failed linkage, in this case there's no linkage, right? Then you have to write an outcome report of the examination on the examination worksheet in compliance with the standards that they have. I was paying close attention because I wanted to pick up on something that would be different from what Mangena told us. Yes, Mangena being Chris Mangena, the ballistic expert from the Oscar Pistorius trial and now the Senzo Meyiwa trial. And then I recently found out that he's also the same ballistic expert who worked on Babita Dekoran's file. I'm actually going to do a separate video on that. I have so many video ideas, but it's just me. So anyway, let's continue listening on and then I'll be back, of course, with more of my commentary.
Captain, you then deal with the next comparative ballistics examination request. And this in particular are the 3 cases you outlined at the beginning. Can you take the commissioners through the request made?
Okay, before I could return the 27 case files to FSL in Silverton in Pretoria, I received a request letter on the 30th of December 2024 from the Pktt to conduct a comparative examination to compare Brimley case 149 of 424 with Brimley case 149 of 4/2024 and Santin case 398 of 11/2022, together with 2 Orlando cases, which are Orlando case 220 of 3/2022 and Orlando case 93 of 2/2023. In Brimley case 149, commissioners, there's firearms that were confiscated from the suspects, in possession of the suspects. And in Santin 398 of 11/2022, it was a matter of DJ Sumbody together with his 2 bodyguards. And Orlando case 220, it was a matter of DJ Vintos. And Orlando case 93 was the matter of Mr. Don Tindleni.
Captain, in terms of your procedures, you then accessed the files on your FSL system. What did you then discover there?
Okay, what I did, because I had to locate especially the Brimley case, I had to locate it because already Santin case and 2 Orlando cases were in my possession. I know that I have them. So I had to locate the Brimley case 149 of 4/2024. I then went into the system on the same date, the 30th of December. I checked on the FSL system. The FSL system, commissioners, is a centralized national system. So I used this system to locate this case file from Brimley. Upon accessing the system, commissioners, I noted that Brimley case 14904 was reflected twice on the system. There was a Brimley case 14904/2024 that was examined in Pretoria in Ballistics Silverton, and there was another entry that was made in KZN, where the same entry reflected in KZN Amanzimtoti Ballistics. So I established that the same firearms initially examined in Silverton Ballistics were the same firearms that were examined in KZN, according to the system.
Thank you, Captain. Commissioners, you will recall this is also the testimony of Witness B, that initially they were taken for examination in Pretoria, and in September they were taken for re-examination in Amanzimtoti. This was also the evidence of Brigadier Mkabela yesterday, who confirmed the two entries. Captain, once you realized that there are two entries, what did you then do?
Okay, upon realizing that there was two entries of Brimley case 149, I requested the case file and spoke to Warrant Officer Pktt, who was the ballistics analyst that analyzed the Brimley case in KZN. I went to him to inquire about this case. And paragraph 16, I spoke to Warrant Officer Pktt about this case, because for me it was like bizarre why this case was examined in Pretoria and examined again in KZN. Warrant Officer Pktt advised me that the IOs, or the investigating officers of Brimley matter, presented a letter signed by Major General Mbuso Khumalo, requesting that the firearms in the team's possession be re-examined in Amanzimtoti FSL Ballistics by an independent analyst. So he said that the IOs were citing some irregularities in the initial tests conducted by FSL Pretoria. So the request was discussed apparently with the management of the lab in Pretoria, and following the approval, the examination was conducted in KZN.
So in this video, I've taken you through how the qualifications are qualifying for a Captain Solomon Motisane, who is a ballistic expert in the Pktt. Okay, drop a rose for the Pktt team, because I don't think we've actually done that in the comment section. And I think it's something we need to just take a moment to pause, especially when we hear how well they're working, and then we give the Minister of Police the side eye, because why was he trying to disband such an effective team? Well, later on in this video, we then break down the 4 cases, which is, first of all, Armand Swart, DJ Sumbody. Fun fact, one of my first videos that I ever did was DJ Somebody's passing. I remember it so vividly, how the news came up, and it was just so surreal. Like, what? Why? But now we start to understand that, okay, he was involved in the substances world. So as they say, if you live by the, you die by the. Yeah. Not to say that anyone is justified to take out somebody's life, but his hands were not clean in the cookie jar. But then when we move from DJ Sumbody, then we go to DJ Vintos, Hector Obutelezi, and then another case as well for Don Tindleni. So these are the 4 interesting cases that he breaks down to us, which we later know link the firearm, the AK-47, to the unaliving, or should I say to Katie Molefe, which is a lot. Okay, so this is why we're watching these videos again, just to familiarize ourselves with the facts that are being presented inside Pktt, the Madlanga Commission. Wow. And then I imagine that this is just going to be on repeat again over there at the ad hoc committee. But We are not there. So that's what we know so far. And then he is then requested to take those specimens and then look at those 3 files again. He's given specific files, okay, which is Armand Swart, DJ Sumbody, DJ Vintos, and Don Tindleni. And he's doing those investigation. But the first thing he does, the first file he pulls out is that for Armand Swart. And then he's like, why in the system, if you type up a case file, you cannot delete a case file. Fun fact, okay? Once a case file is created, so a docket, CAS, and then a number, it can never, ever, 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 ever be deleted out of the SAPS system. So that is why you will find when he says that there were 2 hits, I would say 2 hits in his search, that was very strange to him. And then that's when he saw that there was the KZN examination and the Pretoria examination. And again, that stood out to him, like, why are 2 departments working on the same file? So he approaches Warrant Officer Keda in the Ballistics department in KZN, and he gives him the tea. Okay, he breaks it down to him and says, listen, things were not adding up in Pretoria. 1 + 1 was not equal to 2. So they brought it to me, and I actually received a letter, and it was signed by Major General Umbuso Khumalo. So you know what? Everything was procedural. So I went ahead and did the tests. So in our next video, we're going to cover what happens once he gets the tests. So please remember to like, to comment, to subscribe if you've made it this far in the video. It absolutely helps to spread the word and help our channel grow. So I'll definitely catch you on the next one. Bye, guys.